Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're talking about the Israelite Exodus, specifically that pivotal, heart-stopping moment right at the Red Sea. Okay, let's set the scene. The Hebrews, they're frayed out of centuries of Egyptian bondage.
Just escape.
And they find themselves camped by the Red Sea. Before them, just water, impassable. To their south, these rugged mountains, no way through there.
Trap.
And then in the distance, coming out of dust, Pharaoh's army, chariots flashing, coming for them full speed.
And what's immediately striking is the psychological shift. You know, they've just been delivered miracles, right? The plagues, and then instantly they're filled with terror, utter terror.
Right.
Now, some cried out to the Lord, but the vast majority, they turned that fear straight into bitter complaints against Moses.
Already.
Immediately, they're lamenting, and it's quoted as, "It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness." It just reveals something profound about us, doesn't it? Even after seeing 10 incredible miracles, that memory of deliverance was, well, shockingly short-lived.
Yeah.
Raises a big question, I think. How quickly can that immediate fear just wipe out everything else?
It's a classic human thing, isn't it? That massive swing from elation to absolute panic. But Moses, he's described as greatly troubled by their lack of faith, sure, but he himself, no personal fear.
It's striking.
What allowed him that composure?
Yeah.
When everyone else is falling apart.
It wasn't like a lack of empathy. It was this profound certainty, something deeper. They show him as someone who knew exactly why they were there.
Okay.
In obedience to the divine direction, is how it's put. That conviction, it seems almost alien compared to the panning around him.
Yeah.
And his reply to the people, it's iconic. "Fear ye not, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show to you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, you shall see them again, no more forever. The Lord shall fight for you, and you shall hold your peace."
Stand still. So easy to say. Almost impossible to do when you're staring down an army with nowhere to run.
Absolutely.
They really highlight the Israelites' lack of discipline then. They became violent and unreasonable in their fear. They even started questioning the pillar of cloud, the very thing that led them there, suddenly wondering if it was bringing disaster.
And that collective despair, that's the backdrop for this really pivotal moment, this divine intervention. So the Egyptian army is approaching, expecting, an easy recapture.
Right.
When the cloudy column that had been guiding Israel, it suddenly rose majestically into the heavens, passed over the Israelites, and descended between them and the armies of Egypt.
Whoa. So for the Egyptians, it's suddenly this wall of darkness they have to stop.
Total darkness, grinding halt. But for the Hebrews, as night falls, that exact same cloud becomes a great light, flooding their camp with radiance.
Talk about dramatic. It's almost theatrical the way the sources describe it.
It really is. And that simultaneous action, it just vividly shows God's protection, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Distinguishing between them and their pursuers. Meanwhile, back in Egypt, Pharaoh. He'd apparently recovered from his fear. The regret over letting them go. Gone.
Already, after all that.
Seems so. His counselors are saying, "Your bondmen have fled, never to return." Like it's just an economic problem now. And what's really fascinating, the people in Egypt started rationalizing the plagues, calling them natural causes.
Seriously, after frogs and locusts and darkness.
It's a profound insight into that idea of a hardened heart. Pharaoh's repentance, quote unquote, after the plagues. Purely defeat. Temporary. Not a real change. He was totally blinded by sin.
Still thinking he could just force them back.
Exactly.
But there's that weird bit earlier, isn't there, where Pharaoh had given permission to leave, to worship, and he even asked Moses to bless me also. Why would a God say that?
It shows, I think, his complete desperation at that moment. Maybe a flicker, just a tiny acknowledgement of a power way beyond his own.
But fleeting.
Utterly fleeting. His actions prove his heart didn't change. He just wanted the pain to stop. And interestingly, the Egyptians were apparently so eager for them to leave after that last plague, they gave them stuff. Silver, gold, clothing.
Like back pay.
Effectively, yeah. Compensation for centuries of unpaid labor. And that provision is striking, because those same items, later used for the tabernacle.
The good.
And the golden calf.
The bad. Wow. Such a contrast.
And then there's that detail often missed about Moses bringing Joseph's bones.
Right. Why was that so important?
It wasn't just morbid. It was this powerful symbol, Joseph's faith hundreds of years earlier, that God would bring them back to the promised land.
So it connects the generations. Shows this long-term plan.
Deep historical continuity, exactly. And they're described as leaving like a well-organized army in units.
But they weren't soldiers.
Right. A paradox, isn't it? A military formation of civilians.
This whole journey to freedom, the sources show it wasn't just about escaping Pharaoh, was it? There were these deep spiritual lessons right from the start.
Before they even got near the Red Sea.
Like the command about consecrating the firstborn, given before the final plague, then emphasized again right after. How does that set the stage for what happens later?
Oh, it's deeply significant. Ties back to ancient roots. The commentaries link it directly to God's promise of the firstborn of heaven to save the sinner. In Egypt, it was this powerful, tangible memorial of deliverance during Passover. That blood on the doorposts literally saved their firstborn sons.
So the firstborn were, like, bought back, ransomed, or set apart for God.
Exactly. Consecrated to the Lord. A sign of gratitude, of remembrance.
Okay.
And the sources are very clear. This act prefigured a greater deliverance. Just like the lamb's blood saved the Israelite firstborn, the idea is the blood of Christ has power to save the world.
A huge theological link.
Massive. And it's also about faith in action. They couldn't just believe, they had to act. Mark the doorframes.
Right.
Like James says later in the New Testament, faith without works is dead. That principle hits us today too, doesn't it?
Okay.
How do we act on our beliefs, especially facing our own Red Seas?
So the stage is perfectly set now. Israelites by the sea, Egyptians behind them, this divine cloud doing double duty.
Light and darkness.
And now, the moment. Moses is told, stretch out your rod over the sea. What did the accounts say happened? The sheer scale of it.
It's miraculous, the waters part. The sources say the Lord sent a strong east wind all night long. It makes the sea into dry land. Then the Israelites just walk into the midst of the sea upon dry ground. The waters are like a wall on either side.
Incredible imagery. A wall of water.
And the pillar of fire, it lights up this path, described as being cut like a mighty furrow through the waters. Imagine seeing that. A dry road through the ocean depths.
Yes, mind-blowing. And the Egyptians, driven by what? Their hard hearts, greed. They actually followed.
Almost unbelievably, yes. They followed blindly right into that same path.
Whoa.
But the sources detail how their chariots immediately started having trouble, drove heavily. Progress was very slow. The Lord troubled the host of the Egyptians. Get this. Some sources mention angels going through their ranks, literally removing chariot wheels.
No way. Divine sabotage.
Complete disruption. And they started to realize, apparently, God was fighting for the Israelites.
But too late.
Far too late. Moses stretches out his rod again, and the waters, the sources say they were hissing, roaring, eager for their prey. They rushed back together, swallowed the entire Egyptian army. Complete annihilation.
There remained not so much as one of them.
Exactly.
The Lord saved Israel that day. It's so direct, so powerful. And the Israelites see the bodies washed up on the shore. And the text says, the people feared the Lord and believed the Lord and his servant Moses. What a turnaround.
That overwhelming sense of deliverance, the raw power they witnessed, it led to this spontaneous outpouring. Gratitude, faith, just bursting out. The sources really emphasize Jehovah alone had brought them deliverance. No human strategy could have done this.
Right.
And their emotions just explode into song, led by Moses, this triumphant anthem of thanksgiving. It's described as potentially the earliest and one of the most sublime hymns known to humankind.
Think about that. One of our first epic poems, born from this moment. And it wasn't just for that day, was it? The sources say it echoes forward. Points to future victories, even cosmic ones.
Absolutely. Revelation 15 mentions the redeemed in heaven singing the song of Moses, the servant of God, and the song of the Lamb.
Wow, connecting this specific event to the ultimate picture.
It's timeless. This hymn celebrates God as a mighty warrior, unique, majestic in holiness, awesome in glory, working wonders. And it ends with that declaration, the Lord will reign forever.
Powerful stuff.
And it wasn't just Moses. Miriam, his sister, a prophetess, she leads the women. Music, dance, the same overflowing thankfulness.
A real community celebration then.
Yeah.
Total relief and awe.
Completely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, our sources highlight something profound. God's deliverance of us from the bondage of sin, it's described as even greater than that of the Hebrews at the Red Sea.
Greater? How so?
In terms of its eternal impact, its cost, it reminds us that appreciating God's love, his mercy, that's the foundation for any real spiritual life. The daily blessing, sure, but above all else, the death of Jesus. That should be our constant theme of gratitude.
So we've unpacked this incredible ancient story, pulling from all these different sources, what does this deep dive really mean for us, today? The Exodus is presented as more than history. It's the most dramatic and glorious experience of God's people in the Old Testament,
Yeah.
a divine model of how God deals with impossible odds.
It truly is. From a purely human view, the Israelites were stuck. An impossible situation.
Yeah.
Just like the sources suggest, we often are with sin, or maybe just life's overwhelming challenges. And the cross of Christ, the commentaries argue, that's the even more dramatic deliverance, profoundly foreshadowed by this Exodus event.
And the Red Sea crossing itself becomes a symbol.
Yeah, in the New Testament, it's used as a powerful metaphor for baptism in Christ, signifying that break from the past, a new beginning, stepping into freedom.
So the story offers these timeless lessons, really universally applicable. When you are faced with those terrible situations, what's your first reaction? Is it faith? Or is it fear, like the Israelites initially? How can we learn from their initial panic, but also their ultimate, miraculous deliverance?
Well, those instructions Moses gave, they still hit home, don't they? Do not be afraid. Stand still. You will see the deliverance. And maybe hardest of all, the Lord will fight for you.
Trusting, waiting.
Trusting, waiting patiently, recognizing God's leading, believing he'll actually step in for us. But it's not just stand still, is it? God also told Moses, move on. Tell the people to go forward.
Right, into the sea.
Exactly. Which raises that crucial question. How do we figure out when to stand still and wait? And when God is saying, okay, now march forward by faith, even when the path looks impossible, like walking into the sea?
That's a tough one. And the sources also give us that chilling reminder, the danger of a hardened heart. Like Pharaoh, despite all the evidence, overwhelming proof, he just kept going down that destructive path. How do we guard against that kind of denial in our own lives when truth is maybe inconvenient?
That's a constant challenge. And finally, digging into the modern reflections, we found this story. Brings it all right up to date. Shows how that spirit of mission, of trusting God's guidance, still happens. It's about a missionary in Germany, Dimitri Bagal.
Yeah.
He's receiving cancer treatment in a hospital. Tough situation, but he turns the hospital itself into an unexpected mission field.
While he's a patient.
Yeah, he sees people struggling, asking those big, tough questions about God, and instead of focusing inward, he engages. Gives out books, The Great Controversy, The Desire of Ages, prays with other patients, fills the hospital bookshelves with spiritual stuff, even sees a young Iranian man recover after they prayed together consistently.
Wow, finding purpose even in suffering.
It just powerfully underscores these themes, doesn't it? Dimitri, kind of like Moses, is sowing seeds, working under God's guidance, choosing to trust and act, even in his own difficult circumstances, and leaving the results up to God.
A modern echo of God, opening a path where it looked like there was none.
Exactly. Reminds us, as one source concludes, we do not know and cannot measure the result of faithful effort. You just have to trust and act.
So from those ancient shores of the Red Sea, all the way to a hospital room in Germany today. This powerful narrative, it really does deepen our understanding. Divine intervention, faith holding steady, overwhelming deliverance. It's about learning to see God's hand, his path, even when things look completely impossible.
It reminds us, I think, that whether you feel like you're facing an army at your back, or maybe a huge obstacle at work, or just battling a really deep personal crisis, those principles, trusting God, waiting patiently for him, but then stepping out boldly in faith when prompted. They're just as relevant now as they were thousands of years ago. The Exodus isn't just history locked in a book. It feels like a living blueprint for how God can work in our lives if we let him.
So, as you think about this deep dive, maybe consider this. What Red Sea moments are you facing right now in your own life where the way forward seems totally blocked? And how might we, remembering that ancient song of Moses, but also that eternal song of the Lamb, how might that inspire you to find that balance maybe, to stand still and see the salvation, but also to trust that God will fight for you and somehow, some way, open a path where there was absolutely none before?